At 2:13 in the morning, your phone suddenly lights up. One message, we need to talk tomorrow. That's it. No explanation, no emoji, no, don't worry. Just silence. And for most people, it's nothing. A normal text before sleep. But for someone who is too aware, that single sentence feels like someone quietly pressed the panic button inside their nervous side. Suddenly, their chest feels tight, their stomach drops, their thoughts become louder. And within seconds, their brain starts replaying every recent conversation like security footage. Did I say something wrong? Why did their tone feel strange earlier? Were they upset this whole time? Now it's 2:47 in the morning, and they're still awake, staring at the ceiling, while their mind performs psychological autopsies on conversations that probably meant nothing. And this is the exhausting reality of people who are too aware. Their mind never truly rests, because they don't just listen to words, they analyze energy. The delayed reply, the fake smile, the subtle shift in someone's tone, the silence between sentences, the expression someone tries to hide for half a second. While everyone else experiences life normally, their brain is unconsciously performing threat detection. Psychology calls this hypervigilance, a survival response where the nervous system becomes trapped in a constant state of alertness. And the terrifying part is, most people living like this don't even realize they're surviving. They think this is simply their personality. But usually, this pattern begins in childhood, especially in homes filled with emotional unpredictability. A child growing up around anger, criticism, tension, or unstable affection learns something very quickly. Stay alert or get hurt. So the brain adapts. The amygdala, the brain's danger detection system, becomes overactive. The child starts studying people for survival. Footsteps become signals. Tone of voice becomes data. Silence becomes a warning sign. They learn how to recognize emotional shifts before anyone says a single word. And over time, their nervous system forgets what real safety feels like. That's why overly aware people often struggle with anxiety, emotional exhaustion, and something psychologists call rumination. The inability to stop mentally replaying situations long after they are over. A small awkward interaction can stay in their head for hours, not because they're weak, but because their brain is desperately trying to prevent future pain. And eventually, their awareness stops feeling like intelligence. It starts feeling like emotional torture, because they don't only analyze other people, they analyze themselves too. This is where metacognition becomes overwhelming. Instead of simply feeling emotions, they observe themselves feeling them. They monitor their reactions, judge their thoughts, question every emotion they experience. They don't just feel sadness. They immediately ask themselves, why am I feeling this? Am I overreacting? What's wrong with me? Even during happy moments, part of their mind is still standing in the background, quietly analyzing everything. They laugh with friends, but suddenly wonder if they laughed too loudly. They send a message, then reread it 5 times to check if it sounded annoying. They walk away from conversations and replay them for hours, searching for mistakes nobody else even noticed. Their mind becomes both the observer and the person being observed. And after years of living this way, relationships slowly become emotionally exhausting. Because when your brain constantly searches beneath the surface, trust becomes difficult. A compliment feels rehearsed. Kindness feels conditional. Affection feels temporary. Not because they are negative people, but because their nervous system was trained to expect instability. So while everyone else enjoys the moment, they quietly study it, trying to predict pain before it arrives. They become experts at sensing emotional tension in a room. Someone says, I'm fine, and they instantly know something is wrong. Two people sit quietly beside each other, and they can feel the hidden irritation between them. Sometimes they absorb other people's emotions so deeply that they stop knowing which feelings are actually theirs. Psychology refers to this as emotional hyper-responsiveness. Their nervous system reacts intensely to emotional stimuli that other people barely notice. And over time, this constant emotional scanning becomes exhausting because their brain never fully exits survival mode. Even peaceful moments feel mentally loud. Even rest feels incomplete. Even happiness feels temporary. And the saddest part is, many overly aware people secretly envy those who can simply live without analyzing everything. People who can enjoy a moment without questioning it. People who can receive love without doubting it. People whose minds know how to rest. But here's the painful irony. The more overly aware people try to stem, the more overly aware people try to protect themselves from pain, the more disconnected they become from life itself. They stop feeling present. They stop trusting moments fully. They stop allowing themselves to emotionally relax. Their awareness slowly transforms into a psychological prison. So, what's the solution? It's not becoming less aware. That's impossible. Awareness is not the enemy. The real problem is carrying everything your mind notices. Healing begins when overly aware people finally understand this. Not every silence means rejection. Not every mood shift is about them. Not every uncomfortable feeling is a warning sign. Sometimes people are simply tired. Sometimes energy changes naturally. Sometimes the brain creates danger where none exists. And the moment they stop treating every emotion like an emergency, their nervous system slowly begins to soften. Not instantly, but gradually. They still notice things deeply, but they stop absorbing every emotional signal around them. And that changes everything, because awareness can become wisdom only when it is balanced with peace. Otherwise, it quietly destroys the person carrying it. So if you've always felt like someone who notices too much, thinks too deeply, and feels everything intensely, there is nothing wrong with you. Your brain simply adapted to survive environments that required constant awareness. But survival is not the same thing as living. And maybe now, your nervous system deserves something it has been waiting for a very long time: peace.